Hi, everyone. I'm Fran Strickland, and welcome to Tapped In with Vera Lead Biz Solutions. And today I have a fantastic guest, Tony Guyanas, and we're here to bring to you information that will help you grow and evolve, not only in your business and professionally, but also personally, because ultimately they're all one. So, Tony, thank you so much for being with us. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you, Fran, for inviting me. This is a great.
Super. Folks, Tony is in the space of energy, sound frequency, mediumship, and clairvoyance. He's a practitioner par excellence, and we are delighted to have him come to us. And we really are going to get into a fantastically interesting and very practical conversation with him today. So, Tony, why don't you just, open up? I gave a very light introduction. We
Hmm.
want to hear what, kind of what it is you really do.
Well, thank you, Fran. I'm basically a medium and clairvoyant. I do connect to energies. I'm very sensitive that way. It's been taking years to do that. And I focus a lot, I've always focused a lot on businesses and how we can bring that level of sensitivity and intuition to business. A lot of times we hear that businesses are just, there's a way of doing it's like a machine. Sales, we're focused on marketing, we're focused on all the things that makes a business grow. But there's a business that part of it that we don't always connect to. And that's always what people find that they hit a plateau or they get to a point where they don't know where else to go or they're not happy. In doing
Mhm.
that, it's that's what I where I come in, where people have attained some level of success, but they're still not happy. So when we connect to the business, it has intelligence. And when we
Mhm.
can read that, it wants to succeed, but you don't want to go ahead of it. It wants to lead. And
Mm.
so that's what I do is that I help business owners become more intuitive so that they're running their business from their heart.
Wow. So, Tony, that's so when we talk about the business having an intelligence and that it wants to lead, that is totally opposite of what most people get coached in. I mean, when they get help from consultants or whatnot, we talk a lot about leadership. Frame that up for us. How can we come get a sense of that the business is leading us or wants to lead us? Are there some signs of that?
Oh, absolutely, Fran. I mean, when a person goes to a coach, and that is still very necessary because you still have to culminate everything in the workings of the business to make it run. To make a car run, you still have to get it tuned up. You still have to keep it clean. There's so many things to do with something that's working. However, where it's going and why it's going there, the coach can't always well, they might ask the question of what is your why and look at the deeper part of you. At least the good coaches will want you to go deeper into yourself because that's really why you're doing your business. What made you start this business in the first place? You saw a niche, but it's not only money that people are going for. And if it is, that they'll find very soon after that it's more than just the sales and the marketing and everything. But it's the coaching is one part that we need to look at. But when we can feel what our business wants us to do, we'll ask questions like, should we get into another SKU or another market, or should we have another location? When people ask me that, the first thing I say is, what are you feeling? What are
Mhm.
you feeling? Instead of going through all of the research of the demographics of where this new business might be or another chain of the business, and the coach can tell you a lot about that. But what are you feeling? Do you need to feel that you're moving forward? And most times people are saying, I think it's kind of soon. We still need to do a lot of one thing and be good at it and then try and duplicate that rather than the fact that our sales are very good now, the hype is good, and that's when we should really expand. So
Mhm.
coaches will tell you how to do it, but it's your heart that will tell you whether it's the right time, and that's where we figure that in. But
Mhm.
it's a balance. It's a balancing.
Mm, mm. So forgive me, Tony, that we have the little ones that's talking a little bit. So I'm going to just hold us just a moment. Let me get them quiet, and we'll come right
Okay,
back.
okay, no problem.
Okay. So now, Tony, you're talking about people need to feel what the business is telling them. But now that feeling is unique. What do you say to people when they say something like, okay, well, that sounds good, but I don't even know how that feels? What do you
Well,
say?
one of the things that people are feeling is one of two things. If their head is doing the feeling, usually they'll feel this sense of excitement that this is what I really would love to do because it's all coming from the head. It's all coming from look at the growth potential that we could have having a let's say a second location or having let's say broadening our product or our service in some way. And so a lot of it is a excitement or the enthusiasm of the energy, but that's not the feeling that you want to tap into. You want to tap into the fact that what is your business saying to you? So when people that come to me, they'll come up with various words. The nearest one that I could think of was the person wanted to open up a second location of a very successful launch of their business and realized that, oh, wow, all these people are coming and wouldn't it be nice to have another location? So, among other things, he came in for a reading for. At the very end, he says, "Oh, by the way, I want to open up another location." And then I looked at him and I says, "Take a deep breath. What are you feeling? What do you feel when you take a deep breath in? Does your chest feel tight, or does it feel like it's expansive?" And the first thing he says, "Well, it feels tight, but I still feel it's the good thing to do." I says, "That's right, because I'm getting the same thing. If your heart is feeling tight, it means it's a no or not right now. If you're basking in success right now, enjoy it. What is the rush? What is the rush of going? It's just that you want to get to a certain status or a certain level of sales, maybe to equaling or surpassing your competition. And so your head is running the show, but your business energy is laughing at you because whatever we plan, there's only so many things that will happen. But in the end, it's the momentum and the energy of your business that will ultimately take on or reject whatever you're trying to do. And when people have already opened up, let's say the second location, and sometimes we'll go through it and they'll still say, no, I still want to do it. So I think I'm going to do it. And that's fine. And I just give them some cautions and various things to do. They'll come back usually 8 months later saying that was a mistake because now I have to run back and forth because now managing two locations was something I did not expect, and it's in a different demographic. People are not looking at the same thing. And now I have one that is still doing very well, but the other one is kind of an anchor. And it's not now I can't even get out of it because I signed a 2-year lease, or there's other commitments with staff, or there's many reasons why people don't close it right away or decide right away. It's always an afterthought. So when you take a deep breath in of how this is it excitement? Then your business wants it to say this is a good idea, then you go with it. But that takes practice because we have been taught and conditioned to be able to listen to other people of what they think they would do if they were in your shoes, but they're not. They're looking at your business in their shoes, which is not applicable to what you should do. So most people say, "What do you think in a bar? What do you think I should do?" And right away, if you're asking, that means you have doubt. That's exactly what it means. It doesn't even matter what the answers are, even if they are insightful in a bar or to a best friend. If you're asking outwardly, it means you're not sure. When you feel that this is the right thing to do and I don't know why, that's more like the energy we're talking about.
Mm, mm. You know, as you were talking, I mean, there's several points that you made that really indicate now is not the time, that you can see the tightness in the chest, that the tendency to ask opinions when when it's not clear, or maybe when you really shouldn't. So you get some signs along the way. But I remember, and I think maybe it might have been you saying so, that sometimes we get out in front of the business.
And that's very
And
common, Fran, when
yeah, so tell us
people
about that.
are so excited about their business. They just wanna lead, which is fine in the beginning because it does come up with an idea and you're excited about this, what this will do to clients, what this will do perhaps, for you to really find your niche in the market, or it's something that you love to do, then, there's always a tendency, to be in the front. And in the beginning, that's okay. But the problem is we sometimes get addicted to being in the front, thinking that all the things that are coming, you know what's going to happen and you're going to go get through it. But this is where, after about 3 months of 6 months of very heavy moving forward and you're leading, all of a sudden you'll start to ask questions that are not as clear as it was in the beginning. Things like, what color should we use for this corporate file? And then you come up with it, realizing that down the road, well, maybe that red doesn't go very well with whatever medium that you're going on, or whether you should have. There's so many decisions you're going to make in the beginning, and one of the things is that when you're leading, the business can't give you any insight as to where it is or where it needs to go. So the idea is to hold back just a little bit, not so much hold back in your intensity, but holding back in, you want to be able to see what's coming. There's always this person that is constantly driving the business. If you want to drive this bus in spirit form or in energy, that energy will let you, but you don't know where you're going. You don't know the things that are coming. And when you sort of step back a little bit, you see it coming a mile away. And all of a sudden, you'll have, let's say you're talking about, let's say, this second location. That seems to be a one that I've been getting a couple of times, where you're talking about we should open up a second location. And if you just draw back a little bit, just in the sense that, you know what, I'm just going to put it out there, as they say, all of a sudden you'll start to hear different stories or advertising or people, situations that the second location didn't work out. In other words, it is the business way in giving things to look into, because you're about to do something that the business doesn't think is a real thing right now. If you revisit it in a year from now or a couple of years, maybe it'll be ready. But right now, it's a little premature. So when you step back, you're giving that little gap or that little variance where the business, since it has intelligence, can guide you that this is not such a good idea. And then you'll feel it that I'm getting, it's still a fantastic idea, but right now may not be the time. So we could look at it that way, and you're opening it, you will save thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of mistakes when you rush in haste.
Mm,
And that's
mm,
what you're doing. You just sort of leave it back a little bit. This way your expenses can adjust, your your psyche can adjust, and at the same time, you can enjoy the sales that your present location is doing. If you're online, then just stay there for a while. Enjoy the success. Realize that this is great. And then you put it out there that what is my next move? And if you don't get anything, then you just keep going. But you're always one step behind what the business sort of wants to do. Owners that do that, I mean, they could call it insight or epiphanies or all these things that come up. You'll dream about something, and that gives you, oh, yeah, I never thought about that. You wake up in the morning, jot it down right away. And again, it's a way that your business is communicating with you. And if you have a very harmonious home, you got a very harmonious office, and your intentions are right, the business really does want you to prosper. There is a prosperity thing. But sometimes we get so excited is that we get rushed, enthusiastic to the point where we're not listening to anybody. We're not listening to anything. We just want to do it because it's in our head. That we have to be careful of,
Mm.
because in the end, it'll be something that you will take the brunt of because the business didn't have the chance to tell you otherwise.
Wow. Okay. So what did I hear? I heard that just because the business is saying not now, not now, the time is not now, we can enjoy. We should take the time and enjoy
Yeah.
where we are. So there's this element of being present in the now, letting go, detaching from some outcome that we might have had circling in our brain cells, and the element of realizing, or even maybe asking oneself, am I listening to anyone? If I am the sole producer of idea, insights, concepts, and executor of all of them without any input, then I might be in a dangerous place.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
This is right. This is why good owners will talk to their staff. They'll say, we're thinking of opening up a second location. What do you think? Well, how does that going to work with the trucking? How is that is going to work with who's going to run it? How is that going to work with whatever system that? Oh, gee, I never thought of those things, because they're in the working space. Use your staff, use your coach to be able to say, it's great to have the idea, but you got to logistically run this thing. And more than likely, if it's in another location or if you're getting someone else to do it, it doesn't always be a good idea when you have a person in mind, like a brother in law or some member of the family that says, oh, he's good at accounting. I'll let him run it. And then you already have a person on a location that isn't even established. What happens if that person says, no, I'm bored, I'm leaving? All of us, you know what I mean? Like all of a
Mhm.
sudden, you had the titles already picked out, but not the idea in the first place whether or not you should do it.
Mhm.
So when you are open to listening, that's what many coaches say. Be open to what everyone is saying to you. But all I'm doing is adding the level of intuition from your business. Your business is insightful. We just got to be quiet and feel what that insight is. And this is what we do. There's so many ways to enhance that sensitivity, but it's sometimes in a way that sometimes business people aren't really open for, like yoga, like meditation, like listening to different types of music from all over the world, including frequencies, the 528 frequencies, the 432, listening to different frequencies and elevating your vibration so that you can sensitively feel what your business is trying to say. But many people don't listen. They don't even hear it. Even if they are quiet, they don't hear it. So there are ways to make that better.
Mm. Okay, so let's go there, because a lot of clients that, and a lot of people that I'm associated with, that there's two things happening. Clearly, they want their business to be profitable. They want to have more sales. They want to have high quality clients. All of that contributes to their success. And right now, they also talk about it's just wait and see energy. So it's a domino effect. So one, someone waits and sees, so that stops the action here, and then that it just goes down the line, and then suddenly you have stagnation in your revenues or a drop off of revenues. So people are really kind of in that space all the time. Yes, we want more sales for sure. We want more sales, but now energetically, it's just this wait and see. What can they what would you say to someone that's kind of experiencing that right now? This
Well,
kind of
that's
lag.
clearly something that yeah, that's something that we've already sort of mentioned.
Yeah.
When a person has doubt and they wanna wait and see, what they're saying is they wanna see the results of it before they make a decision, and that there's no such thing. There's no such thing as having the sales you want in front of you, and then you're gonna make a decision on those sales. There has to be a point where you feel this is the right thing to do. So you're gonna have insight first, knowing that this is the right way to go. And where does that certainty come from? I mean, many years ago, I remember in my moving business, we had a point where we were just about bankrupt. Our sales were very low, and I just had this inkling to get into the storage part of it for moving because a lot of other moving companies, our competitors, were doing storage, but we didn't have that kind of storage facility. So I basically told my wife that, okay, we're going to get into the storage part. We were going to get some containers, and we were going to set up situations where when clients are moving, we can put them in some kind of a storage facility that's ours. It's that we don't have to keep paying every month for it and so on. And so we would have our own. And it for the first part of it, it wasn't doing very well. Like we ended up buying 3 containers. We had them full, but it still wasn't producing very much in that. And then my wife said, "We got to get out of this." But I says, "I know from a numbers point of view, you're right. You're absolutely right. But I'm feeling this is still the way to go." In doing that, I kept working on the different ways of how we could store furniture and how we can do it. And as soon as we started doing that, the revenue from the storage started really increasing a lot. I went from 800 square feet to 1,500 square feet in 2 weeks. Then I doubled that for 3,000 square feet about 3 months later, doubled it again 3 months later. And within a year, we were up to 12,000 square feet and it was full.
Mm,
But I didn't see the sales of those. I didn't realize we would have end up having 210 crates and 210 storage facilities, but I just felt that this was the way to go. But from a numbers perspective, it was interesting because when my wife worked out the paperwork, he says, "Well, we're paying 5,000 a month for this, but we're receiving 5,000 a month in, so it's not really doing anything." I says, "That's right. That was never the point. The point is when people store with us, when it goes in, they're gonna hire us when it comes out." And so it was that commitment that if you're coming into our storage, they're not going to send another moving company to come into another moving company storage. So we would get both sides. That's where we started doing it. So it was never a point. I thought it was going to be about profit, but it was more about commitment. And in some
mm,
companies, you have to look at something that is it making any money? No. But what is it doing? The fact that it's there, what kind of effect does it have?
mm,
So, but that came from a feeling because I didn't have any numbers. And from that, our sales, our things going in, it got to the point where I worked it out where my guys were loaded the whole truck, and then we had to charge from the person's home into our storage facility. And that was sort of a formula. It came to an additional 6 hours worth of work. But what I worked it out was once the truck is stored and loaded and packed and everything, I would just drop off the guys at their homes. And I would go to the warehouse by myself to unload. And that 6 hours was the additional revenue I needed to supplement the storage. And so it wasn't that difficult because when it's coming off, it's all on the dock. It just rolls right off. I had over $200 in my shop, so there was many ways that we could do it, and I did it on my own because I had the time. As we grew, then we sort of made that more sophisticated, and I put the dollies in the truck, so everything's on wheels. So when I left the customer's place, everything on the truck had wheels. It was just all strapped so it wouldn't move. When I backed up into the storage, I was able to unload an entire 26-foot truck in about 8 to 9 minutes because everything's just on wheels. I just had it all on wheels, and it was able to go into the storage very quickly. So I was done in no time, but I ended up getting over $700 for those 9 minutes. So anyway, you find ways to make yourself efficient because you're feeling that this is the direction it needs to go. And it's that certainty that will come out because you're sure, but you don't know why.
But people call this is magic or synchronicity or serendipity, all those terms. But I just got the sensation, and this is me feeling into it, and I'm not playing, folks, that as you were talking about, because you talked about commitment, when you feel your way into something, you feel like it's the right thing. There is a degree of commitment that you make because you're convinced from that feeling this is the way you should go. Sometimes it's based upon, as you say, it might be profits, it might be something else, but you go with it. And then there's this element is that once you make that kind of commitment to what you're feeling, then what you need in addition starts to develop. Like you got the insight to, okay, take my team home. They get to have time at home. You had the time, you unloaded the truck. I can make it easy. Put everything on dollies. It's easy. And then that's really when you got the margin on that
Right.
idea,
That's
which
right.
suggests to me that ultimately this whole idea of prospering is a consequence of confidence in that intuition that you have. It can be one consequence or one result, not a consequence, a result of
Exactly.
belief in your intuition. Now, we are really, this is really a rich conversation, and we only have a few more minutes. But I'm going to give you some minutes today because I want to make sure we round out this conversation. Um, I think that one element that's so important is that people's lives, they're not two lives. There's not your work or your business life and your life at home. That ultimately the two run together. Before we go, and as a matter of a big insight that you want to share with our guests today, what insight can you share with them to help them bring together those two elements into one for an ultimate overall impact on the quality of life, period?
Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to stop talking about a work and personal work life being separate because you can't take yourself to work and still be a personal person, but you can. The problem is that when people bring their work home, they are switching to a business mentality while they're home where they should be playing with their kids or doing things with their kids. But people think, well, you have to do work or you but the thing is that is the whole work. There's so many times where I'll play with my children, and then I'll get a business idea because where we're doing something while I'm doing it. So I'm one person. You are
Mhm.
a multi-dimensional, authentic person. And if you are the type of person that you are in your private time, private moments, the same as out in public, there's no difference. When people see you, they're not seeing two sides. And sometimes people will hear of other people that I didn't know that they were into all these other things because they had that separation. But the thing is, to work on yourself is the biggest thing, is to find ways to be able to heighten your happiness, find ways to be able to make yourself more available to everyone, not just your clients, but to be able to constantly look at eating healthy foods, looking at uh, the deeper part of you. There's more to you than what you see in the mirror. You're from an energy perspective, it's very small compared to who you really are. You're much more expansive. And when you can identify as that, then you could bring your personal and your business together and it's the same thing. Realizing that your home and your business are an expression of you. The only thing we need to do is manage the what is it, the overworking. If you're overworking, it means you're doubting your sales. If you're at home too much, it means that you don't think you're going to be successful at work. In other words, there the reason that it's been compartmentalized is because people can't manage their time. They go online and they're wasting time on things where they should be doing business. And when they're in business and they have a family reunion or something, they're on the phone with a client or something. Now, if it's different, if it's you're signing a deal, it's very important. That's fine, but it can't happen all the time. You're not always in a 911 that I need to sign this deal. Most times it could wait. But sometimes you feel that, oh, it can't wait because it needs my presence. It doesn't. A person that feels it has to be in a physical place all the time is a person that has doubt of their abilities. But if you have confidence in yourself, if you know that it's okay, I don't need to be there. And this is how billionaires think. They don't work because their sales are, let's say, 5,000 times more than yours. Do you think they're working 5,000 times more than you are? In fact, they're working much less. They're working a lot less. And that's the mentality. Every time you get to a different level, there needs to be a different way that you do business. There's going to be your launch type of self, how you're going to run your business when you first start. Then there's going to be a point where you're going to start doing all the things you need to do, and you can do it all yourself, including the bookkeeping and everything else in the beginning for a certain time, just to save on costs, because you want the business to have as much capital as possible so you could grow effectively. But it's all going to be in the feeling. And when your sales get to a certain point, then you're going to have another version of yourself taking it from there. And as you go up, there's less and less of your physical self in those tasks. It has to be. You can't keep running in the mailroom if you're a CEO. Somebody has to take care of that. So, what is there? If it's not your physical body, then it's your energetic self, your presence. They know that I'm with a company that really cares about people, and you're instilling that in your employees. And that's what they will do. And a lot of CEOs, they have a higher God, they have a higher purpose, they have a higher reason for doing things. It's not just sales. And when you focus on your customer, giving them value and making the customer feel like they got more than they paid for, then they'll come back. And you can work that in, knowing that whatever they do with you has value, has all kinds of effective things that you could do so that they get prosperous, and then everything comes together in the end.
Mm.
So if I were to say anything, make yourself more sensitive. Be realizing that what does it take to be in this sensitivity? As I said, it's yoga, you can meditate. Find out if you don't meditate, it's fine. You don't need to. However, it does make a huge difference with your internal system. You
Mhm.
recalibrate yourself. You start thinking things that'll just start coming to you. You send things out, like when you're saying you're putting it out there, you send those things out. And when it happens, it's something that you didn't do yourself. The people that are humbled, they know they had help, and
Mhm.
they never lose their identity. They never forget where they came from.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's what we're trying to instill in a lot of business owners, bringing in that level of humbleness, that it's not just me all the time. It's you're trying to build something that others can be proud to work for you and with you along the way.
Mm. Tony, that's so fantastic. That's it in a nutshell. Ultimately, it isn't all about us. Um, but the big things that I heard today as you talked is about one, realizing that we need to lead space for that business to lead. Give it a couple steps back, listen, tune into it, knowing that what we do running our business as we are running our business is the same person who's showing up day in and day out. There's not two separate people. Stop splitting ourselves in two separate types,
Yeah.
okay, because we're all one. Um, you know, Build the capacity to tune in to the feeling, tightness, expansion. One tells you, not now. One tells you, yes, move ahead. And the other things, realize that once you make a commitment to that feeling, you're trusting, then things also comes along to move it along. So you're not, it's impossible to stand still. My takeaway, and I'm now, maybe it's in my brain cell, but I'm feeling so enthusiastic because that tuning in is impossible. It's then impossible for you to stand still, that you are going to move. You are going to move one way or the other. Either you're moving forward or you are now present in this state, but there is a joy or an enjoyment that can happen in this current state as you prepare for that next level. Thank you. Now, just to make sure, Tony, folks, there is so much more to Tony, and it's unfortunate we can't get it all in. But Tony, please tell the audience how they can reach you, and of course, I'm going to make sure that it shows up in the comments when we go live. So, how can people reach you and really tap in to the richness of your capability and care?
Well, they could log into our website. It's lovehigherself.com. And we have everything is there, like as far as all the events that we have monthly sound baths, we have remote tuning sessions, which we use different tuning forks and different frequencies, and we could do remote tunings anywhere in the world, or people will come in to our studio. Our email is info@lovehigherself.com. And those are one of the best ways to start the connection. Every Friday at 1:30, I do an online tuning class, a meditation class for 1 hour Eastern time. And it is on our website to click onto that. And it's on our Facebook Live, because we're on Facebook Live and everyone can visit that. We have people that have come. We've been doing that for about 5 years now. And we have the regulars that come every single week. And Spirit always comes up with different topics that is of the highest relevance that people are either praying for or they really want to happen. And those are the topics we're using, like how to say no and be polite, things like that, or how to be able to look at a negative instance and turn it into something positive energetically. If somebody's talking bad about you and bad about your reputation, saying that all the things that are not true, a lot of times our competition starts those things. But let's say there's somebody that is really talking negatively about you. How do we conduct ourselves so energetically we are not affected? Because the first response is anger. and all of that. And spirit has all kinds of different ways of how to be able to get through that and succeed. So we're still waiting for we our last episode we did last week was who is listening. I mean, when you're praying for something, sometimes you don't get a response. Sometimes you just hear nothing. Like you're wanting something, you're praying for it, you're asking whoever, and nothing happens, nothing changes. So we had a one and a two-part class on that one, on why sometimes there is no reaction, that there is no response. And many times it's the fact that it's the way you're saying it. In other words, if you want something just for the sake of wanting it, but it's not intense enough, you won't get an answer. The ether, the energies that are listening, they don't hear your words, they feel your words.
Mm.
Everything works in light. Everything works in frequency. So if you're just saying what you want, but there's no emotion behind it, it's like it never went out. There has to be something. I need this because it would be a great for my family. I'll be able to work with my clients a little better, give them a better experience, and so on.
Mm. Mm.
And so that gives you a higher way of looking at things. But we have all kinds of things that way. But that's on our website, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. And just as a little incentive, little treat for your audience, Fran, anybody who has heard this podcast or have seen the podcast on LinkedIn and YouTube and so on, if you want to come to our sound bath, we will give you a ticket. Just go to info@lovehigherself.com, and in the subject, just put, I heard from you from Fran Strickland, or Fran Strickland sent me. And then we'll put your name on that list so that when you come in virtually, you'll be able to be part of our next sound bath, which is, I believe it's in March 25th. But we have the ones on our event calendar every month. So it's every month it comes out. So looking forward to seeing you perhaps in our next sound bath. And we have singing bowls, we've got crystal bowls and gongs and everything, and all at a specific frequency to be able to make you more sensitive, and you'll feel things. People are still buzzing from the last one. I got an email this morning that the person can't stop vibrating. They said it's so powerful, and
Yeah.
it's actually increased their business. Since you're at this high level, it's all about attraction. You're attracting new people into your business and sales effortlessly. You don't have to do
Mm.
anything, but it's just your vibe is making the big difference. That's what we
Wow.
try and do.
Wow. Tony, you have shared so much. It's just a, and I know it's a metaphor, tip of the iceberg, but you shared so much. And folks, I've had the privilege of spending time with Tony. He is absolutely a powerful individual, great to interact with, such an eye opener. And I encourage you to take advantage, do the sound bathing, but also spend some time with him. His information will be in the comments section when we go live. Tony, thank you so much for being with us. I'm going to have you come back because I can think of a lot of topics that people will be interested in hearing more about. So please stay in touch because I'd like to see you come back. And now,
That
folks, that's it. I'm Fran Strickland. What we do is we work with small and medium-sized businesses to get them to predictable profits and performance. And we're here and we look forward to seeing you next time. So again,